unless you've been living under a rock for the past couple of months, RWBY Ice Queendom is weeks if not days away from airing. And without a further ado, let's take a moment to appreciate just how we got here. At the start of the year, the official RWBY Japanese account tweeted that an announcement was inbound. RWBY team members followed up with excited retweets. While initial speculation was that it would be news regarding production of the much anticipated RWBY Volume 9, something didn't quite track. Firstly, it broke with convention that the news would be coming from the Japanese Twitter account before the American one. And secondly, all communications about the show's production were handled by RT Animation's producer, Joe Clary. A day later, a new Twitter account under the name Team RWBY Project tweeted out an image of what appeared to be Weiss sitting on a throne in front of a mecha army. The tweet drew a mixture of curiosity, excitement, and annoyance. The first two because Weiss appeared so radically different from any character design thus far. Comparisons to As-Death were quick. The latter annoyance came from the fact that there was still no news about RWBY Volume 9, but really this felt like missing the forest for the trees in this case. Google translated the tweet read, "In 2013, the web animation series RWBY, produced by Rooster Teeth Productions in the United States. A new project that inherits that feeling is released with a newly drawn visual. Follow-up news will be released on this account at any time." The website now showed a countdown with a big reveal in 15 days. As for what it was counting down, that was anyone's guess. But fans wouldn't have to wait for long. The very next day, the account tweeted about a live event set for March 23rd, with the Japanese dub voice actresses for Team RWBY taking center stage. It didn't seem out of place at the time since voice actors are commonly assigned promotional duties when it comes to shows in Japan, but with the possibility of a new project on the horizon, speculation about an anime started to take place. And again, fans would not have to wait for the event for news, as it was announced 2 days prior that the new Team RWBY project would indeed be a television anime. The accompanying key visual gave the show its title, RWBY Hyosetsu Teikoku, or RWBY Ice Queendom if you like English. Now, I don't want to undersell how big of an accomplishment this is for RWBY. RWBY has pulled off what very few IPs has done. It has taken cross-cultural pollination one step further. It has taken the original concept, with a new twist, back to its point of origin. It's no secret that Japanese media and anime in particular have had a huge influence on the show's creator, Monty Ohm. It was revealed that Monty himself had laid the groundwork for such talks to happen 8 years ago. He approached Good Smile Company at a convention with the idea of a RWBY anime. This would later go on to manifest itself as a dub, and what we have today. Now, speaking of production, let's see who's on the crew for this one. Studio Shaft will be taking point on this production, with Toshimasa Suzuki serving as director, Ken Urobuchi is providing the animation concept, To Ubukata as lead writer, and Huke as lead character design. At this point, a ton of new information flooded the website, some of it admittedly poorly translated by the looks of it, but that aside, we got details on character designs, bios, and even merch. But there is something interesting to note here.
Hello again!
That's right, y'all, the RWBY ship Arcos has set sail once again, and nothing bad ever happened to it, ever. Remember to like and subscribe to Board. However, not everything was sunshine and roses. Blake's voice actress Erin Zek brought up concerning details about writer To Ubukata's history, specifically an alleged domestic violence incident. Erin herself, being a survivor of abuse and an accompanying online harassment campaign, was understandably alarmed. Ubukata would later reach out publicly stating his innocence. He'd also state the reason why he was silent on the matter. He considered it a very private matter between him and his now ex-wife, later adding that he still maintains a good relationship with her and his children. As with all news items like this, trying to discern what is true and what isn't becomes incredibly messy. What facts we do have are limited at best. There was some sort of quarrel on the evening of August 21st, 2015 at the Ubukata residence, and Ubukata's wife reported the incident the next day. Ubukata was arrested later on the 24th, but released pending charges. The charges were later dropped by the public prosecutor's office when his ex-wife refused to press any further. Whether or not there is more to the story is unclear, but that's as far as the legal proceedings go. And frankly, it'd be improper for me to speculate. As for Erin, the matter would later appear to be settled after reaching out directly to Rooster Teeth. What was said in those conversations is not public, but Erin did go on to say that she is on board with dubbing the project, but will be donating her paychecks to charity. So make of all this what you will. Apologies for the dreadfully dry tone, but honestly, reporting drama is like one of my least favorite things ever, especially after doing all that research for the Genlock video. Back on track though, the live event. Thankfully translated in real time into English. A good move considering RWBY's international audience. Can we see clips of this live event? Well, no, because the VOD was turned to private and I forgot to download it before they did like an idiot, so now we don't have any clips of it. But I did write down some notes, so let's take a look. Carrie did speak some Japanese, which Ami Koshimizu gave what sounded like an unironic Nihongo Jozu. There was a live performance of the ending, which thankfully everyone clipped. And there was something about a manga in there set for a June 27th release, and oh yeah, they dropped the trailer. As for what this trailer is telling us, it seems that we're heading back to Beacon. But it is very important to highlight that this is not a reboot. RWBY is not starting from zero. Rooster Teeth is not outsourcing production of RWBY proper to Japan. Now, I am not a reactor, nor do I ever plan on being one, but in the interest of entertainment, I will attempt to reenact some of my reactions. That's peak tsundere right there. Okay, I swear if RWBY doesn't say the words Onei-chan at some point, we riot. I mean, come on, Yang already said the word Emoto there, so ball's kind of in your court, Rubes.
Emotional damage!
Wow, I don't think those words could have ever left RWBY's mouth in canon. That is... whew. Like, yeah, saying Daikirai is like a pretty big frickin' deal. Holy Sakuga. Excuse me, was Ozpin always that hot, or Ara, freezer burn? Like, you can just tell in this frame, like, Yang's thinking like, oh my god, don't think gay thoughts, don't think gay thoughts, don't think gay thoughts. Okay, a bit of theory here now. So I do think this scene right here is being a little more literal than it's letting on. If you've ever seen the anime Kuroko no Basuke, it's kind of similar to Akashi's situation. That is to say, there are actually two Weisses. So Nice Weiss is the one we know in RWBY proper. This is the one that takes Professor Port's conversation to heart and brings RWBY coffee as a way to make amends. But in this new anime timeline, we have Mean Weiss, who didn't take the conversation to heart and instead decided to become Atlas Hitler? Yeah, I'm sorry, that sounded a lot smarter in my head. I don't know where I was going with this. And this video obviously can't end unless we address the question of whether or not this show is canon. Head of Licensing and Consumer Product, Jeff Yetter, put up a fairly detailed post. Aside from painting much of the context in how Ice Queendom came to be, this announcement also did skirt heavily around the words alternate universe, which caused a fair amount of confusion within the community. The show has been described as canon adjacent in this long-winded paragraph, which, for all intents and purposes, just seems to be an extraordinarily artistic and roundabout way to say alternate universe. By another name. The only real distinction that I can come up with is that AU is usually used among fan circles, so perhaps CA would be used to describe a first-party story variant of some sort? I don't know, I'm just making this up as I go along. While one can debate whether or not this has any weight to it, for my part, if it quacks like a duck, and I really hope this does get cleared up at some point, because I don't want a situation where I have to pull a Giguk and explain the RWBY-verse for the eventual RWBY franchise. Actually, on second thought, I would not mind doing that. Hey guys, editing Eric here after the fact, and there are a couple of new developments before I release this video because why wouldn't there be? First of all, if you are attending RTX Austin, whether online or in person, good for you, because there will be some sort of reveal related to the show. What this reveal is, I don't know exactly, but it might be related to news item number 2. The show is confirmed to start airing July 3rd, 2022. If you're not familiar with seasonal anime, this is pretty much in line with the summer season, so nothing unexpected here. This might affect RWBY Volume 9's release date. And I want to emphasize the word might because I'm speculating here. I think RWBY Volume 9's release time will be pushed to somewhere in the fall. Because in my opinion, it doesn't really make sense to put 2 RWBY shows on the air at once. Essentially, the 2 shows would be competing with each other, which is not ideal. And take all this with a grain of salt, because by the time July rolls around, we will probably have more news on RWBY Volume 9 itself. And there you have it, that is everything I could find about RWBY Ice Queendom. Do let me know what you think the plot's going to be down in the comments below, and honestly, the crazier your guess is, the better. Which means you get more FPS. But do you know whatever has RTX off? That's right, this segued to my end screen. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching.